Hello everyone, let's see what's going on for the week beginning June 18th, 2018. All right, before I get into this, last night there was this huge hailstorm that went through my area. The people out in Fountain, I think, got hit pretty hard. So if you did, I just want to extend my love to you. I know it was kind of a rough night for most of us. And I went grocery shopping this morning. That's all everybody was talking about was all their insurance claims. And there's just this this look of dread on their faces. So I know that was tough. There was one woman, I don't know where she was, but she even had hail come through her windows in her house. In her house. I mean, that's a lot. So anyway, I just want to extend my love thinking about you. All right, so let's get into this here. I'm just going to dive right in and let the words mostly speak for themselves. There is weakness among you, and the poison runs deep. You have allowed the test to turn you away from God, source, creator, whatever you call that higher power, and then turn against each other. You have come into allowing a falsity that you are separate each from the other. But it is not so. All events, are triggered by the sadness of humanity and the longing to be happy. Happy does not mean that you are of power, and they're quoting that, and therefore must push others low. All right? Happy is the long forgotten feeling of true trust, connection, and love. So let this be a time to repair love, to lift oppression, to ask questions and think before you judge. We'll talk about that here in a second. Do not let all be lost. Stop the fighting among you. Be authentic. You all feel the same pain. You all feel the same fear. Be of comfort. Okay, and I'm assuming that means be of comfort to each other. So, especially if you live in the United States, you know that this has been a very big time of division. People really wanting to make sure everybody knows what team they're on, right? And even being, very diminishing, maybe even borderline abusive or bullying towards somebody who they feel isn't like them, right? Or because of maybe some history, there's some pre-programmed hate or fear or whatever the case may be. And we are reacting from that space instead of unplugging from that program. Yes, it even says the poison runs deep. So it feels a little ominous. It feels like, all right, you were given this opportunity to find your way back to God. Where are you guys? All right. I don't know that there's like a specific time frame on when we're supposed to get back to God, but definitely by fighting one another, by having any kind of hatred towards each other, we're not going to get there, right? So the whole message here is to discover, not just saying, oh, we're all one because you think it makes you sound good, or oh, we're all one just because it's wishful thinking, but a true deep understanding of, seriously, this person sitting across from me has felt pain in their life as well, and I'm not really sure why they're being so cruel right now, or why they're yelling and screaming and whatever. But we're not that different, okay? And I think that is what we're being taught right now. I actually just had this experience a couple of days ago. Someone left a comment on one of my videos, and was using words like ignorant, idiot, you sound like a liberal. And because this person really wanted, I don't know what they wanted, but it seemed like they wanted to really come off as a conservative, this person put a lot of time and attention into finding the most abusive language, the most oppressive statements, and there was a lot of twisting and manipulating and all these things, and it was just devised to basically destroy who he thought I was, right? So there are people out there who are so divided that they would love to see something horrible happen to somebody else. I mean, that's how far gone some people are with this whole Anthony Bourdain thing. There were some very, very unbelievably nasty, hateful comments that came, and this is somebody who lost their life, I'm assuming to depression. And I think that's what they're trying to tell us right now. Look at what you're doing. Look how hateful everyone is being. Look what happens when there's a school shooting. And someone comes out, comes out and says, hey, we need to do something about this. And you get all the arguments, and it's all people just trying to stand up for what they think they represent. That is the biggest delusion, and it is the biggest lie that we live, that we don't have anything in common with one another, that we are to be divided. Please be careful with this, because it's just, I've said this before in other videos, it's just like sports. Now, if you like a little friendly competition and you're a good sport about it and you find sports fun, okay. You like the athleticism of it and all that, okay, whatever, fine. I'm not a sports person, so I don't really get it, but okay. But that's not what we're talking about here. Sports, when people get violent, when they really take it too far, they take it way too seriously, to the point where they want to fight one another. You know what I mean? So these are all distraction tactics. And when you are not realizing your power, when you're not realizing that we are all connected and that what you see in another is also within you, not only are we weakened, but then we get into that low energy of fear, anger, hatred. And now you're even lower. And guess what? Now we're manifesting things that make the world seem really awful. And we talked before about the polarized energies. And just know, the further you go away from center, depending on what side you're on, you're either ungrounded or you're in evil. So this, I think, is a very stern, the angels don't get angry. They don't have an ego. But if we're going to put it into human terms, I think this is kind of a very stern message. Stop fighting one another. Stop trying to act like your team, whatever. Your way of life is not threatened. And a lot of people would argue that, and say, well, it depends on what culture you're looking at. Some cultures are actually threatened. But what we're getting at here, and it's not to diminish people's struggles, but if we do have compassion and empathy for one another, guess what? We're going to start embracing everyone's culture. We're going to start, not that everybody has to be of the same culture, okay? But it's not one above the other. It's everybody being equal and giving each other room to be who they are and appreciating the uniqueness that we can all bring to the table, okay? Oh my gosh, she sounds like a liberal. Ew. Please don't even try me on politics. I'm not into it. I'm really not into it. I don't feed into it. I don't see any reason to, but I do try to keep apprised of what is happening to people and how it affects them, and that I'm definitely observing. But I think that's the message here, to be very careful and to watch what you're giving into. Watch allowing yourselves to be brainwashed. Unfortunately, the people who probably need to hear this the most won't listen. They might be the ones that want to trigger more fighting. They want to bully others. They want to, call it, one of the big things, what is it, snowflake or something? That's another big political thing. Oh, you're snowflakes if you're sensitive. Some of the stuff is just so off the charts. I can't with this stuff. But let's see if we can't first observe in ourselves and in others, and also instead of fighting and using social media to divide us even further, right? What team are you on? What do you represent? Start to come into even if it's quietly in your meditation, but really set that intention of, I want to understand myself better, I want to understand others better, and I want to be connected. And I want to, as they say, repair the love, right? So it doesn't mean love itself is broken. It means our ability to process love is broken or not working at full capacity, if you want to see it that way. And that's what needs to be repaired. Okay, let's get on to the cards. As always, the decks that I'm using are listed down below. If you'd like to get a personal reading with me, I'm keeping on top of them as best as I can. So the wait time might not be a full 20 days. I do have up to 20 days to get it to you, but as always, if I can get it to you faster, I will do that. So you can just go to my website at angelsouls444.com, the services page. The information is down below. If you reach out to me, I know this sounds a little harsh, but if you reach out to me and say, how do I get a reading? I still get this. I've been at this now for 5 years, and I'm going to tune into that. A lot of times I think people just want special attention, and they want me to drop everything and copy and paste links and, do all that stuff. My energy is going to be focused in a different direction. Okay. The information is there. I would love to read for you, but, again, anybody who's trying, and I would offer that up for other readers out there, that's, protect yourselves. Okay. Don't let people just take your energy. All right. Now, please don't forget that I have Gumroad courses up. I have just recently posted the next video in the workshop series. It is titled Healing. All right, so you have a couple of options there. I have a series with the archangels if you want to learn about them. Each one of those videos comes with a meditation. And then if you want to do more practical focused work, that's what the workshop series is. I also have Perceiving Your Angels. Perceiving Your Angels course up there. There's a chakra clearing meditation. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff over at Gumroad. Information down below. And a special thank you to all my Patreon supporters. If you would like to support me on Patreon, you can just go to the Patreon page, Angel Souls 444. Again, that information is down below. So let's get into it. Let's see what else we can kind of come up with here. I'm going to start with the crystal deck first. Yeah, we really need to stop having, in the angels' perspective, it's feeling they're looking at all of our arguments from a further distance. And they're saying that we're giving in. There are things that are, let's call them energies, that are purposely trying to aggravate us and purposely trying to turn us against one another, and we're giving in. We're allowing it. It's kind of a strange feeling, and I feel icky about it. I feel a little violated, like, wait a minute, I got to come out of, okay, you know what? I'm not going to engage with bullies. I'm not going to engage with people who are just trying to be aggravating just to lower someone's energy. I'm not going to feed into programming. Okay. So decide what's right for you, but please remember that. Please don't fight. You know what I mean? Anyway. So this card was sticking out, and I'm like, please don't fight. And I was just thinking, we all need to love one another. And then here's rose quartz. So, and this card is inner child. So rose quartz is all about love. It's about purifying the heart. It's about us connecting again as children. Remember back when you were a child. And I just dropped everything. Okay. I'll get that later. But remember when you're a child, you don't know about prejudice. You don't know about, you just know who's nice and who's mean still, that dichotomy there. And who you want to play with and who you don't want to play with. And you know what I mean? And kind of how to get along, maybe, for the most part, unless you're a child that's being raised by parents that want you to hate like they hate, then we're going to have a little different scenario. But I think the key word with that card is innocence, okay? Getting back to the innocence and connecting with one another without prejudice, okay? Then we have red jasper, healthy boundaries. All right, we need to redefine what healthy boundaries actually are. And first of all, red jasper is all about the root chakra and being grounded, okay? Feeling secure. And this is why we have a lot of the fighting that we do. People often feel very insecure, right? Or they feel like their boundaries are going to be crossed. I gave, if you didn't skip over and you watched the auto write message, I was describing how there was somebody who got very bullying in a comment. And I wondered, I was like, what, I kind of wonder if this guy thought that, it's kind of a long story, but I think he thought like his way of life was going to be threatened by something I was saying. First of all, I wish I was that powerful, but I don't know how many people really listen to my words and felt twisted about it. That's not my intention, so if they get twisted, that's them doing that. That's not me. But how often do people react in the way that they do because, like I said, they're insecure, or they don't love themselves, or they don't know how to set the healthy boundaries? See, here's the problem. A lot of people will associate healthy boundaries with being strong and like forward. And if you're built like that, okay, that's just who you are authentically, fine. But healthy boundaries doesn't mean fighting people, okay? Healthy boundaries can mean, okay, you know what? I am not really sure why we're having this conversation, but that doesn't feel right. I'm not gonna engage, right? Or, healthy boundaries might be speaking your truth. And this is where a lot of people will try to shut you up. Don't give them your power. Why are you even giving into them? If there's something that you need to say, go ahead and say it. It's not like you're trying to fight them. It's not like you're trying to provoke the other side or stoop to their level, however you want to see it. You're speaking your truth and then you're disengaging, okay? So it's hard. It's a delicate balance because we are emotional creatures, yes? And sometimes those emotions can get pretty heated, and we're being advised to be careful with that, okay? And it's interesting, we just had the summit, speaking of politics, we just had a summit here, as most of you know, not here, but, in Singapore. And, it looks nice, but, the story still needs to unfold. But this is what we're talking about. Try to at least make an effort. Like, we don't know if it's going to be the cure-all, but at least start to make the effort to get along with one another and start sending some positive energy out into the world, right? No matter whether you agree with what's going on or not. You can disagree, but don't hate. No more of the hate, okay? It's not helping. All right. Then we have azurite, expanded awareness. Things are going to start making sense. We're going to start seeing why things have had to unfold the way that they have. But this really talks about personal expanded awareness, yes? Seeing things from a higher perspective, asking yourself, is it worth it? And that's not to say, like, if somebody else is impassioned about something and you're not, you go, you know what, I'm not going to argue with you. This isn't worth it. You're not being empathetic, okay? This is talking about not even getting to the point where you need to exchange words. It's not even that far outside of you. It's starting that expanded awareness within you. That way, whatever situation that you're in, you will have full capacity to set that healthy boundary, and not like, I want to explain this too, not in the way of, don't say that offends me. Again, if you live in the United States of America, you're supposed to be able to say whatever you want. Kind of what we were based on, right? Freedom. So we're seeing now that that's not always the case. You do have to be careful. Again, don't hate and you'll be fine. Right? Don't be hateful and you're good. But this expanded awareness is really understanding not only where you're coming from and going, oh, okay, maybe that's why I react the way that I do. Oh gosh, maybe that's why I treat that person that way, because I feel threatened by them. I feel intimidated. Right? And I feel like I need to do something to preserve myself. It's all self-preservation, isn't it? The expanded awareness shows you there's no need for that, right? You don't need to fight one another. As a matter of fact, the exact opposite needs to happen. We need to come together, okay? And be more loving. I know. Well, we'll get there somehow. All right. So then we have black tourmaline protection, okay? So here we go. And absorbing negativity, absorbing the fighting, the hatred. And they're saying too that the reason why this is coming up is that we're trying to protect our innocence. We're trying to protect who we think we are. And in an ever-changing world, I think a lot of us are getting quite a bit of anxiety because we're trying to keep up. But again, things are changing so quickly that, I got comfortable with that and then this new thing came out, or this used to be the expectation and now it's not, and now I don't know who to be. So there's this feeling perhaps lost, and black tourmaline is very grounding as well. So we are not sitting here saying that this is, like I said, going to be easy. But you do have some knowledge and some know-how about how to stay grounded, how to get centered within yourself. And that doesn't mean if I'm grounded and centered, then I'm better than you, better than the other. It's not that. This is about I'm grounded and centered, and now when I see someone who's in pain or someone who's acting in a certain way, I can kind of understand, like, okay, I've not had that exact same situation, but I've been in other situations that have made me feel passionate that way, or whatever the case may be, okay? I know this is so tricky because even saying that, people are going to get mad. It takes nothing. It takes nothing to tick people off. But if we were all empathetic towards one another, right, that doesn't mean that you're going to agree with everybody. It just means, all right, I honor that that's where you're at, and I honor that you are having this emotion. And no, you don't have to just, step out of it and give up, right? Just to make everybody else happy. Or, like the book 1980, was it 1984? I want to say 1982. I don't know, 82 has been like in my brain for a long time. Everyone's in a different way getting their marching orders and everyone's expected to be the same. Because somehow that's going to be some sort of utopia. I don't know. But it's happening in a different way than we thought. Let me just put it that way. Yes? Well, we always thought, see, it gets into a big argument. I'm not going to argue with people, but there's still a lot of mind control about what to say, how to be, what to wear, what to eat. Okay? We're being very controlled even with that. This is evil food. This is how you should be. This is the ideal body. I mean, it's everywhere, guys. Absolutely everywhere. Okay. I'm going to pull an extra card before we get on to the color card because this one kind of wanted to come out with it. Okay. So it's Labradorite. Take action. And once you're in that expanded awareness, take action to not give in. Take action to be kind to one another. Give people space when they need it, and don't judge them for it if they need space. Do you know what I'm saying? So tune into your instincts here. Tune in to that third eye. Sorry, I did a big clean yesterday and I switched my studio around and now I'm confused. I'm realizing my table doesn't work to the left of me. It's got to be to the right of me because I'm crossing over my microphone. More than you ever cared to know about what I'm doing here, but there you go anyway. All right, so let's get the color card going here. Yeah, and don't worry so much about looking for specific events to sort of justify what we're saying here, okay? This is going to hit different people in a different way. And, and it's not just going to be for this week. It's going to be ongoing. This is just where the point of awareness is, okay? But the process will be probably a long one, because we, as humans, we take a while to catch up with ourselves. All right. Here we go. We have Auburn, ground yourself. The number is 11. 11 is the number of ascension. It's being aware. It is watching what you're manifesting, watching what you're bringing in. From the auto right, I mean, it flat out said that, all the events, it's basically human emotion. I think it was Greg Braden. Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've seen it. So I'm not sure if it was Greg Braden. But I think on his show, Missing Links, it's on Gaia.com, one of the episodes talked about how, I think it was like, I don't know, the electromagnetic field or whatever, something spiked when 9/11 happened. And it was 15 minutes after the towers were attacked. And, he was saying that it took that amount of time for the emotions of people to spike. And it did affect the energy of the earth. Okay? And how people started reacting towards one another, and how the government started coming in and wanting to make sure we all get completely x-rayed before we go onto an airplane. And, it really started to change our world. So be aware of that. And we know that too, just from our spiritual practices, that when we meditate upon peace, when we meditate upon love, when we say what needs to be said, when we speak up, that can cause a giant shift in this world. And right now it feels like we're choosing the drama. We're choosing the drama story, the fear story. And it feels yeah, of course there's going to be stuff happening in the world, but this feels very individual. Okay? Very like, here come the thunderstorms, I think. We're supposed to be getting them here soon. But we're choosing to be in that fear, and like our personal identities are being threatened. I need to show you who I am so you don't mess with me. It's one of the first things that I learned when I moved to New York City. Fight them before they fight you. Don't have a smile on your face. People will take advantage of you. You know, fight back. Always make sure you fight back. You know, so I was always coming from this reactionary standpoint, just so people wouldn't mess with me. We need to change that. Okay, we need to change that. And it does. It's not just New York City. It happens here in Colorado Springs. You know, somebody sees that I had, when I first moved here, I had different plates on my car, and they would purposely tailgate me on a windy mountain road going 90 miles an hour, bumping my bumper almost, and laughing and thinking it was funny because I wasn't a local. Okay, so what's that about? People coming from elsewhere are going to threaten who you are, threaten your way of life. See, we all have to kind of work together to get to the solution. So where does that fear come from? And do they think really one person or just a few people are powerful enough to change a way of life? And some may argue, you know, well, it's already happening. There are people coming forward and saying, I don't like that word, don't use it. Or I don't like this shop, so don't go there. And there might be good reason why people don't like a certain word, and there's probably a very good reason why somebody doesn't like a place or what's happening, but that's not the point. The point is then the control afterwards. And that's what I'm feeling right now. There's this maybe overcorrecting, or it's almost like a threat, you know? So people feel threatened and then they start threatening others. Yes? That's where we are at right now. And I don't know that people are going to understand that at all. But yeah, I'm just feeling this out here. I'm mad, so everybody should be mad. I don't like this, so nobody should like it. Do you see the difference there? It's now controlling everybody else. And I don't, you know, this ain't coming from me because I'm still human, right? There are things that I'm not behind, but I guess we'll figure it out together, okay? And as messages come through, I will definitely keep you updated, even if it's on Facebook. So make sure you're over there. I think there's a new posting option too on YouTube that I haven't really been using too much. But if I get any more on this, I will definitely let you know. But please, let's ease up on one another. And like the auto write said, please give it some thought before you judge someone. So let's not just assume that someone is intending something bad. Or if somebody, let's say, I don't know, whatever their lifestyle is, that's how they are, and you're not in agreement with it, don't go threatening them. Or it's about overcoming someone else's free will. And that's one of the worst things that you can do, okay? Like one of the interfering. We do not interfere, okay, with one another. We support and love one another. I'm not talking about, I'm not going to support that person if they're doing something I deem bad. That's not what I'm talking about. Letting people be, okay? And when you can offer a gentle word, or you can offer something and be like, well, this is where I'm coming from with that. I think that's at least a beginning place. But stating our opinions as facts, probably not the best thing. I've been accused of that myself when I was just trying to state my opinion, but it was because it was a long time ago. I was in a workplace, and somebody said that to me, and I knew he was only saying that because he had such a problem with what I said. He just didn't want me saying it anymore. So he was using every tactic in the book to make me feel guilty about saying my opinion. So it gets sticky, it gets messy, it's back and forth. It's not easy to understand. But such is life, okay? And that's where our expanded awareness comes in. The more our awareness expands and we start to understand each other, the more we're going to understand what kind of action we need to take with ourselves. And that might be get more information before you jump to a conclusion, okay? So we're going to leave it there. Have a beautiful week, and I'm sending you so much love. Take care.